Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at making a ship that can warp under 1 second. Now, if you haven't seen the video that I made yesterday, it basically was looking at align times and basically finding out how hard it is to catch a ship that is 3 second align. You've got quite a high chance of being caught by somebody that is sensor boosting, and under 2 seconds it's very hard, nigh on, I won't say impossible because that's not quite right, but it's incredibly hard to catch somebody with an align time under 2 seconds, which can be quite easily obtained in a SNES. And today we're going to be taking a proper look at making an under 1 second ship align time, which is, in general terms, I'll use this loosely, impossible to catch unless you do something incredibly silly or get incredibly unlucky. Now, this ship is a T3 destroyer, and it comes with one of the unique bonuses that it can basically change its mode, and basically we were going to want it in propulsion. So as a base, it has a 1.97 second align time. Now, the reason I'm making this is because I often move around high value BPOs, and until recently I generally use a shuttle. And now a shuttle is hard to catch, but it is obviously quite susceptible to random smart bombs. So being smart bombed in high sec is relatively rare, and to be fair, it's only happened to me once, and this was in Jitter, and that was 107 days ago. So it does happen randomly, and on occasion. I can't say I've ever had it happen to me prior, but again, there's always a first time. Thankfully, I wasn't carrying anything in the cargo hold at this time, but as I said, I often run around with 10 to 20 billion ISKs worth of BPOs in my cargo, so being smart bombed once with that much in the cargo hold is once too many. So the nice thing about the Hecate is that it will give me a option to put medium shield extenders in the mid slots. Now obviously that will give me a little bit more proofing against being ganked, which is obviously quite a nice little touch. So in order to do this, we are going to need inertial stabilizers, and the best ones that you can get are the Shadow Serpentis. Now we have a look here. The inertial modifier for the Shadow Serpentis is 21.5. Yes, they are obviously quite a lot more expensive than the rest, but they are the best, and we are going to need 4 of these. Stabilizers, let's get these fed to said ship. Now this brings us down to 1.03 align time. So we're getting close, but not quite. So now we're going to need the rig slots nozzles. We're going to go for the Tech 2 ones for this. So let's get us 3 nozzles. Fit that. Now as you can see, we don't go down a huge amount here because, as most things, the more you stack it, the less benefit you get. So we are perilously close to getting what we want here. So in order to do this, finish this off, we need the evasive maneuvering EM703, and that will hopefully stick that in. Gives us an align time of 0.98 seconds. Now that is fantastic, because the problem with medium shield extenders is they increase your signature radius, and having a bigger signature radius means you can get locked up much easier. However, because we have an align time of under 1 second, we can't be locked by anything. And so to finish off, we've stuck a EM field in the last remaining mid slot. Now I could put an extra shield extender, but for this, we're fine with that. It just plugs up the hole that we've got in the EM. So let's take it for a spin. Let's get ourselves to Tama and let's pick up some BPOs. So if you do a lot of stuff in Jitter with pretty much any ship, you should generally have yourself a few insta undocks just to make life a little simpler. And that's because obviously when you are undocking you are quite liable to being ganked, so I would always recommend making a few insta undocks. Now the aligning under 1 second assumes that you're going from a standing start, so basically if you've got no speed whatsoever you will get into warp under 1 second. However, if you are moving, that isn't always the case, because your ship basically has to align to the vector and then make the maximum amount of speed. So for instance, you can't just turn straight round and expect to get into warp under 1 second. So let's have a jump through. This should be fun. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to tell the difference between 1 second and 2 seconds, but let's see how quick we go. That's pretty impressive. So yeah, under 1 second into warp. So I often get the question asked of why do I do stuff out of Tama? Because obviously Tama is quite a dangerous system. Now generally I've not had any issues going in and out of Tama. I generally, as I said, I've done it in shuttles and blockade runners with cloaks on, and so far I've never run into any problems. Now Tama is a great system for the fact that it has the large engineering complex, or extra large engineering complex, and that basically gives you great bonuses to research, and that's ME and TE. And the secondary bonus is that it's faction warfare, so you actually get a discount from it as well. So where are we? As you can see, straight in. It's not even a gate camp tonight. Now I do find that gate camps usually often happen around this time more often than not. So we can dock in the Tama space engineering factory here, and we will pick up some of our BPOs. Where are we? And I think I'd already done it. Have I? No. There we go. So I've got a good number to move back here now. Even though I'm in a ship that can do it under 1 second, I'm still not going to do them all at once, because again, as I said, it only takes one mistake and it could be a game over. So we'll do the 12 bill and we'll go from there. So let's get ourselves back to Jitter. And the secondary reason that Tama, I don't think or believe or whatever you want to say, is particularly dangerous is the fact that obviously getting into the system is the dangerous part, and obviously you've got to worry about insta-lockers depending on the type of ship you're in. But on the way out, obviously when you undock, I can see the Stargate here, so I can see if there's any smart bombing battleships or anything that could potentially cause me a bit of a problem. If there was a huge gate camp here of, I don't know, say 20 odd people, a few battleships, I might be a little hesitant to go and warp to the Stargate. But as there's nobody here in anything, if it was smaller stuff I wouldn't be particularly bothered. The only thing that might make me dock back up would be a battleship, and again that's because of smart bombs. But again, haven't encountered that before, and if it is a problem you can just dock back up because you can see the Stargate and you can see what's on it. So in my mind that makes Tama relatively easy to get in and out, and especially if you are in a smaller ship, because obviously trying to lock smaller ships is you've got to have a dedicated team there in order to be able to do it. And so with that in mind, I generally do a lot of my larger researching at the Tama station, and if I have any small stuff that I'm doing, or if I'm doing invention, then I'll often do that in the perimeter station, just because obviously the speed that the perimeter one gives you is very, very good, but you don't get the advantages of getting it cheaper due to the faction warfare. Now, depending on which way the war is swinging within faction warfare, you don't always get a great discount, but it usually is pretty decent. So that's generally the reason that I use the Tama station. Now, we are back in jitter. Now I would always advise you to have an insta dock, and that is because obviously when you get to a station you don't always get there at 0. So just to show you that I still have the blueprints in my cargo hold. Hopefully we're not going to get ganked. So yeah, that's just to always have an insta dock, and I made this pretty much in the station. Basically got an MWD, got as close into the station as I can, and that basically puts me in the station, which is quite nice. Now obviously it can bump you, but basically I am docking up straight away, so it makes no difference. I'm not going to wait until my speed is up to be bumped, etc. And there we go, back in jitter with my haul of BPOs. Now I think I should have checked to make sure they were researched ones. I'm pretty sure they are, so yes. So that, my friends, is how you make an under 1 second align time Hecate that can do all your small hauling for you, but it still has a cargo hold of 450, so it's pretty decent in regards to cargo hold. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was interesting, and again, leave any comments. Thanks for your time.